What is up, fellow GMs? Welcome back to 7 Dooms for Sandpoint. Today, we are overviewing Chapter 4, Footprints on the Roof. This chapter and level of the pit is intended for 6th level characters. If you haven't already seen the overviews for previous chapters, I'm putting those videos in the upper corner of the screen right now. With all that out of the way, let's get right into this adventure. The newest group to settle in the pit has taken up much of the 2nd level after forcing the Whistlefang goblins out of their beloved temple. Devoted to the Sandpoint Devil, it was this temple that drew these newcomers to the pit, for they call themselves the Devil's Disciples and see the Sandpoint Devil as an object of worship. But while the Whistlefang goblins revered the Sandpoint Devil as a god, the Devil's Disciples do not believe the creature to be a deity. Originally, this temple was consecrated by the Whistlefangs. The goblins worshipped the infamous Sandpoint Devil as a god they called He Whose Breath is Death. Their primitive reverence was later taken over by Jordus Munt, a failed bard from Korvosa, whose obsession with the devil began during a storytelling contest at the Hagfish in Sandpoint. There he heard a tall tale claiming the devil was the child of Lamashu and Pazuzu, destined to become a god after devouring 66 souls. Though the story was fiction, it consumed Jordus's life. He spent years chasing legends, falling into conspiracy theories and delusion. Believing himself a prophet of the Sandpoint Devil's ascension, Jordus founded a cult with fellow believers, including a zealous halfling sorcerer named Asmerelli. Together, they journeyed to the pit, overthrew the Whistlefangs, and transformed the shrine into their base. Now only a few sacrifices away from their goal, their rituals have unwittingly awakened the real Sandpoint Devil, whose attacks once again terrify the Lost Coast. Jordus Munt is not to be found in this layer of the pit at this time. He has left the majority of the cult in the hands of his second-in-command, Asmerelli, while he travels deeper into the pit to be closer to the source of his convictions. The PCs will confront him in time after the initial threat of the Sandpoint Devil has passed. The Sandpoint Devil is the second doom for Sandpoint, and as the PCs explore this level of the pit, the devil grows more and more active, driven by the influence of Jordus Munt's ritual and sacrifices deeper in the dungeon. The creature makes nightly excursions out of the pit to fly through the night skies, attack livestock, frighten travelers, and leave its mark upon Sandpoint itself. Using the Strange Tracks event from Chapter 2, you can foreshadow the Sandpoint Devil's activity as early as you want and as frequently as you want to foreshadow the inevitable confrontation with the Sandpoint Devil. You can even add your own events to build tension as the Sandpoint Devil prowls the hinterlands. The encounter with the devil is laid out at the end of this chapter. The Shrine of the Sandpoint Devil level in the pit consists of ancient, partially ruined chambers originally built by spies of Littlealaru before Earthfall. The architecture blends work stone with natural cave features, with 8-foot ceilings and mostly unlockable wooden doors. Now occupied by the Devil's Disciples, the cult lights the area with constantly burning oil lanterns hung from wall pythons, filling the air with the acrid scent of burning oil and brimstone-scented incense meant to evoke the breath of the Sandpoint Devil. This level of the pit can be accessed via 2 entrances from the main shaft, 2 more via Lord Longfinger's realm and the crawling tunnel from the first level, and 3 from the level below. The Devil's Doorstep can be accessed via the main shaft of the pit. This L-shaped chamber marks the entrance to the shrine and is lit by sputtering lanterns, filling the air with smoke and brimstone. A vivid mural spans the eastern wall, depicting the Lost Coast as seen from the pit's edge. At its center, the Sandpoint Devil, a winged, flaming horse-like beast with a dragon's tail, rises from the chasm in swirling smoke. Surrounding the pit in the painting are dozens of small, bloody handprints at floor level, remnants of the Whistlefang's ritual devotion. Crafted with surprising skill by now dead Whistlefang goblins, the mural is considered sacred by the Devil's Disciples, who often meditate before it. In the room's northern section stands what appears to be a wooden platform with 2 statues, one of the devil and the other of a kneeling worshiper. In truth, both statues on the platform are mimics, posing as sacred objects. They guard the room alongside a hidden, brightly striped amphisbaena coiled beneath the platform. The creatures attack intruders, but a surviving mimic may beg for mercy and reveal minor lore or a warning of a powerful cultist regarding the southern doors. The research room was once a goblin torture chamber. This room has been repurposed by the Devil's Disciples into a crude research space. Rickety furniture constructed from dismantled torture devices holds maps, scrolls, and cult documents. A 10-minute search reveals records of 5 recent sacrifices, lone travelers abducted from the Lost Coast Road, ritually slain in the shrine and discarded into the pit. A deeper 4-hour study uncovers the cult's ultimate goal: to help the Sandpoint Devil ascend to godhood through specific sacrifices. The notes also reveal plans to escalate to raids on Sandpoint, including surveillance reports on potential victims, which may include familiar NPCs or even the PCs themselves. The documents confirm that senior cultists are stationed deeper below, though their exact location remains unknown. The prison is a foul-smelling chamber which contains 4 10-foot deep pits used by the Devil's Disciples to imprison victims before their sacrifice in the Devil's Nest Temple on the other side of this level. A rope on the wall is used to lower and retrieve prisoners, while the southwest pit doubles as a crude latrine, poorly maintained with a bucket of quicklime. PCs may find a captured NPC here if one has been previously abducted, terrified, and wounded. Otherwise, the pits hold only the grim remains of past victims. The Desciple Dorm is a large, dimly lit chamber that serves as the communal living area for 8 low-ranking members of the Devil's Disciples. The room features cooking cauldrons, scattered chairs, and stacked bedrolls, with over a dozen surrounding rooms once used as filthy goblin dens. Cultists live in near squalor here, but are fervently devoted to Jordus Munt and the Sandpoint Devil's supposed ascension. When the PCs enter, 1d6 -2 cultists may be asleep while the rest cook or converse. The disciples attack on sight in a disorganized mob, fighting to the death unless only one remains, who then flees toward the pit main shaft, calling out to Master Munt before leaping to their death. Captured cultists remain hostile, but may reveal details about Jordus Munt's descent into the lower pit to commune with the Sandpoint Devil. Beyond that, they do not have any details on what exactly their leader is doing down there. They can also confirm the purpose of the shrine, the escalating pace of sacrifices, and the cult's belief that the devil needs only a few more souls to ascend to godhood. The fancier bedroom is an unlit private room that belongs to Asmerelli, the cult's second in command, and contains a cot with fine blankets, a desk, a chair, and a stone sculpture of the Sandpoint Devil. Once the bedroom of the goblin witch Menargle, it now serves as Asmerelli's personal quarters, though she spends most of her time in the temple area meditating and holding sermons. A secret door is hidden behind the desk and requires a DC 22 perception check to find while seeking. The cultists have not discovered this secret door. The stone sculpture is worth 30 gold pieces, and on the desk are grisly sermon notes containing the same cult lore found in the research room area, and 5 useful scrolls of dream message, remove disease, and 3 third-level heal spells. Behind the secret door here lies Ooun's prison. This dark, hidden cave radiates cold and unsettling stillness. Shadowy condensation beads on the walls, and a cracked black stone slab protrudes from the floor. Menargle, the goblin witch, once used this secret shrine to commune with what she believed was the voice of the Sandpoint Devil. In truth, the voice belongs to Ooun, an invidiak demon imprisoned within the stone since ancient Thessalonian times. As the PCs approach, Ooun communicates telepathically in Abyssal or Thessalonian, asking for Menargle and trying to coax someone into touching the stone. Doing so triggers a DC 22 possession attempt. If successful, Ooun hides within the PC and waits to slip away in Sandpoint, where he possesses a known NPC and uses them to betray and attack the party. He delights in emotional cruelty, targeting innocents over heroes whenever possible. If Ooun fails to possess someone, he may attempt to deceive the PCs to destroy the stone under the pretense that it is a tainted abyssal relic. Destroying the slab releases him into open combat, though he will flee if reduced below 45 hit points. PCs can identify the stone as a prison using Identify Magic or realize the evil presence via DC 28 Religion Occultism check. On a critical failure to identify it, the PC unknowingly exposes himself to possession. Ooun cannot act beyond the stone unless a PC interacts with it, but casting a banishment spell or performing a consecrate ritual to a non-evil deity temporarily silences his influence, preventing possession and telepathy. The Hunting Grounds is a winding hallway that features an elaborate mural painted along the walls. This mural depicts Devil's Platter and transitions through forests to the streets of Sandpoint, where a monstrous bat-winged, wolf-fanged, dragon-tailed horse is repeatedly shown slaughtering humans in vivid, gruesome detail. The same goblin artist that painted the mural in the Devil's Doorstep also painted this mural. Unknown to him, he ended up painting over hidden doors here, making them difficult to find. DC 27 perception from this side, DC 22 from the other side. One secret door leads down to the third level of the pit. The painted hallways are guarded by Gorlak, a boastful ogre who once worked for the goblins and now serves the Devil's disciples for better pay. Armed with a magical ogre hook, he enjoys flinging foes with his hook mid-battle while shouting about earning points. This is a deadly game the ogre has come up with. He fights to the death as he has a strong belief that nothing smaller than him could possibly kill him. If the PCs enter this area during the daytime, there's a chance with a DC 10 flat check that he's asleep in his nest located in the Whistlefang Rumpus Hall. The Devil's Nest is a smoky, fire-painted temple chamber featuring black star-marked platforms, a grotesque wood and burl statue of the Sandpoint Devil above a blood-stained altar, and reed mats on the floor. Two smaller statues of the Sandpoint Devil stand on either side of the altar. These statues are actually two gargoyles. Two former teleportation circles sit in the northern and southern alcoves. The room walls are covered in paintings of roaring flames. The paintings hide a painted-over secret door to the southwest corner of the room, which requires a DC 27 perception check to discover. This chamber serves as a sanctum of worship and intimidation hall for the cult of the Sandpoint Devil, meant to awe visitors, terrify prisoners, and stop intruders before they can reach the lower sanctums. The altar is used for lesser sacrifices, blood oath initiations, and rituals to commune with the devil. Asmerelli, a halfling sorcerer of the diabolic bloodline, has been assigned here by Jordus Munt to keep watch over the approach to the deeper sanctum. Though Asmerelli is second in command, Jordus doesn't fully trust her and has placed her here as both a test of loyalty and a way to keep her out of more delicate operations. She resents this assignment. It's too static for her ambition, scheming nature, but she hides her frustration behind a mask of theatrical composure. She takes private satisfaction in unnerving visitors with psychological games, finding ways to make intruders doubt themselves before she strikes. Asmerelli's preferred tactics are to open with unsettling conversations, using her calm, polite manner and probing questions to expose fears, then unleashes her Devil's Cursed Breath attack to weaken foes before switching to fire magic and directing the two gargoyle guardians to attack. She keeps the gargoyles between herself and enemies, using their bulk for cover. If reduced below 15 hit points, Asmerelli will surrender dramatically, offering her +1 flaming shortbow as a token of respect in exchange for safe passage. This is purely a ruse so she can slip away and rejoin Jordus later. If captured alive, she can reveal Jordus Munt is preparing a grand summoning in the lower chambers. Moving to the south of this level, the Rancid Cavern can be found. This is a vast, moist, 20-foot-high cavern that reeks of decay and rancid vinegar. Stalactites ring the edges, but the center holds a massive rubble nest coated in greasy slime. The slime also lines a southern tunnel, leading 500 feet out to the hinterlands from the cliffside of Devil's Platter. A stuck stone door in the east, DC 20 athletics check to open, leads down to the third level of the pit, while a hidden door, DC 22 perception, connects to the Devil's Nest and the area holding the ghost stone. This is the lair of an elephant-sized shantak, a slimy, flying, Aklo-speaking monster often mistaken for the Sandpoint Devil. The Whistlefang goblins once worshipped it, but the Devil's disciples do not. Hostile by default, the Shantak demands trespassers leave. It attacks if intruders linger here for too long. If a PC speaks Aklo, it can be made indifferent or friendly with social skills, revealing it came here long ago after sensing the final star. an obscure name for Azathoth, an all-powerful outer god described as a gibbering mass of uncontrollable destructive power at the center of the universe. The Shantak feels the presence from beyond the eastern door, which leads down to the third level of the pit. In the Shantak's nest include a mithril buckler, a silver darkwood hip flask with a potion of flying in it, and a +1 striking, wounding void glass kukri. Moving through the secret door rests a polished, hemispherical chamber, the Ghost Stone, its pale blue spindle-shaped crystal slowly rotating and casting shifting lights across the walls. This is the crystal that Liralaru found ages ago. Its divinatory powers are what sparked her interest in the magical school of divination. Liralaru used the Ghost Stone to spy on Rune Lord Alasnist, and she started to infuse it with the spirits of hundreds of Varisian seers she abducted for this purpose. The souls within granted haunting whispers and powerful divinatory abilities. Liralaru mastered its use until a vision of Earthfall was so terrifying, she abandoned it. This chamber's stone door requires turning a central wheel to open, which triggers an ancient trap, whispering voices in Shoanti, Thessalonian, or Varisian that magically compel intruders to stand guard until Liralaru's arrival. Any PC affected by this will attack any who try to enter the chamber, possibly turning on their allies. A PC who examines the Ghost Stone and succeeds at identifying magic learns how to use it. The Ghost Stone can grant terrifying and prophetic visions of the seven dooms threatening Sandpoint, giving the PCs clues to the dangers yet to come. Or, once per day, it can cast Read Omens. Removing or destroying it releases the trapped spirits in a swirl of joy and freedom, which gifts the final vision of the seven dooms before it shatters forever. Recently, cultist Jordus Munt secretly claimed this chamber. Upon using the stone, he saw the ghost of the Sandpoint Devil bow before him as he absorbed its essence. This convinced him that he, not the devil, was destined for godhood. This revelation drives his hidden plans in the depths below. The large chamber on the east side of this level is called the Whistlefang Rumpus Hall. It's a large, unlit cavern filled with rubble from collapsed goblin structures. This chamber was once the main living quarters for the majority of the Whistlefang tribe, now abandoned and left in ruin. Rock pillars support the southern area, while mold and fungus spread across the floor and walls. The former Whistlefang goblin leader Shrilltooth's home lies behind a partially collapsed wall, now containing only a straw mattress and an empty chest. To the south, a foul-smelling nest of deer and elk hides over dead leaves marks the bed of the ogre Gorlak, who stays here when not on guard in the hunting grounds hallway. The ceiling teems with layers of hand-sized daddy long-leg spiders. Disturbing them causes swarms to drop, forcing a DC 15 fortitude save or the sickened condition. 3 larger spiders hide in an eastern rubble piles, ambushing prey smaller than ogres. They are starving, fight to the death, but they will not leave the room if the PCs flee. Searching Gorlak's bed reveals tomato-sized bedbugs and a long gray clandestine cloak, currently used as a pillow around rotten pumpkins, which is serviceable but filthy. The large hall in the northern part of this room leads up to the crawling tunnel section of the first level of the pit. The northern section of this level of the pit is home to a small clan of Caligni, also known as Dark Creepers. The majority of the clan inhabits a long, unlit cavern that has a low ceiling about 4 feet and a moist, clammy atmosphere heavy with body odor. Moldy, rotten cloth heaps and filthy rag nests scatter the area, while a thick hide curtain has been hung in front of the door to block sunlight filtering through during the daylight hours. This door leads to the main shaft of the pit. 2 sets of stairs on the western side of the chamber lead up to Lord Longfinger's realm on the first level, and the other set leads down to the third level of the pit. A secret door in the south wall can be found with a DC 20 perception check. Through the secret door is the Toxic Crystals, a cave that glows with sickly green light from toxic crystals grown around the bones of a long-dead Hezru demon. The crystals pulse and sync with nearby creatures' breathing and heartbeats, emitting nauseating light and a shrill humming that forces nearby creatures to make fortitude saves or suffer poison damage, sickness, and potential blindness or enfeeblement. The crystals can be safely discharged either by precise thievery or resonant sound using performance. If destroyed, the crystals reveal a green crystal functioning as a wand of stinking cloud, which releases sticky slime that temporarily glues the user's hand to the wand until scraped off. Another secret door at the opposite end of this toxic hallway leads into the hunting grounds hallway. The group of 8 Caligni have lived quietly in their small cave for years, relying entirely on their leader Nythis for food and guidance. They are listless and uncertain about their purpose, seeing the PC's arrival as a hopeful sign. The Caligni cautiously approach the PCs, trying to lead them peacefully to Nythis. PCs who understand Caligni or succeed at a DC 25 sense motive realize the Caligni mean no harm, but a critical failure causes the PCs to become suspicious that the Caligni are trying to pickpocket them. If the PCs act aggressively or threaten them, the Caligni attack, but will try to flee after losing 4 members. If the PCs allow the Caligni to take them to their leader, they are led through a stone door to the north. Through the door is an unlit cavern that serves as the home of Nythis, a Caligni caller and leader of the Calignis, along with her 2 Caligni stalker bodyguards. The room features another stone door to the east that is marked with a Caligni rune reading Remnant. There is a basin filled with a dark, shadow-infested liquid that heals Calignis but harms others. Nythis leads her followers in vigil, commanded by a mysterious entity called Remnant Insiroul, who sent them to cleanse or contain a trapped evil known as the Stain. Though patient and devoted, Nythis periodically leaves the pit to gather supplies. When PCs arrive, she cautiously questions their intentions and invites them to meet the remnant behind the ruined door. She does not attack unless provoked, but will fight fiercely with her bodyguards if combat begins. Nythis carries a bag of holding stocked with food and water to sustain her group. Through the rune door is a narrow cavern that is home to Remnant Insiroul, an ancient obe from the Shadow Plane who believes himself the last vestige of a demigod called Husk. The cave's walls are coated in a cold, enfeebling black mold that weakens non-shadow creatures over time. Insiroul communicates telepathically in Caligni and asks the PCs, through his follower Nythis, or if they understand Caligni, to help remove the lingering evil called the Stain, which is actually the imprisoned invidiak demon Ooun on the other side of this level. If the PCs refuse, Insiroul becomes hostile, attacking and calls on the local Caligni for defense. If Ooun has already been defeated, Insiroul rewards the PCs with a magical gloom blade and allows the Caligni, his followers, to return home to the Darklands before he departs as well. If a PC happens to already be possessed by Ooun, Insiroul senses the Stain within that PC and attacks the possessed host to force the invidiak demon out. Insiroul is enigmatic and potentially dangerous, but will not attack unless provoked. So that will cover the second level of the pit. Yet, the second doom for Sandpoint is an ever-growing presence as the PCs explore this level. The Sandpoint Devil has fully awakened and becomes increasingly active, driven by the influence of the cultist Jordus Munt's ritual deeper in the dungeon. The creature begins making nightly excursions out of the pit, flying through the dark skies, attacking livestock, frightening travelers, and leaving its fiery mark upon Sandpoint itself. Jordus's manipulations eventually push the Sandpoint Devil to launch a major, very visible assault on the town. You can time this event for any time after the PCs have explored this level of the pit. It could take place between trips or after they have cleared this level. This dramatic attack is best staged outdoors after dark, allowing the Sandpoint Devil to take full advantage of its flying ability and dark vision. The PCs might return to town just as fire suddenly erupts on a rooftop, revealing the devil emerging from the flames, or they could already be in town when it swoops down to attack. Fires started during this fight are intended to be contained easily by the townsfolk and should not threaten to burn down all of Sandpoint. During the encounter, the devil begins combat by unleashing its devil's howl, which causes any nearby NPCs to panic and flee. Its next action is to cast Phantasmal Killer on a PC, which creates a terrifying vision. The Sandpoint Devil morphs into an enormous shadowy figure, its wings spreading to cover the entire town and its eyes glowing crimson with hatred. Only the targeted PC is truly affected by the spell, but all PCs witness the chilling vision. Notably, no one else in Sandpoint seems aware of the illusion. After the phantasmal killer, the devil tries to position itself to hit as many PCs as possible with its accursed breath, then swoops in for melee combat. If the devil's hit points drop below 30, it attempts to escape by casting Dimension Door to the east, then flies back to its lair deep within the pit. If the Sandpoint Devil escapes, the immediate threat to the town's safety is postponed, but it remains a danger that will return. You should plan for a future encounter. Perhaps the PCs hear the ominous echo of the devil's howl from the foggy depths of the pit as they are navigating the shaft, only for it to burst from the fog and attack. If the PCs manage to kill the Sandpoint Devil, its massive corpse crashes dramatically to the ground, silencing the town for a moment before cheers and jubilation erupt. Even while townsfolk work to extinguish fires started during the battle, the victory celebration lasts for hours. The body is dragged to the Sandpoint Market, securely tied down, with the town deciding its fate the next day. Killing the Sandpoint Devil prevents the second of Sandpoint's 7 dooms and grants the PC's experience, and the public nature of this fight greatly enhances the PC's reputation. Slaying the devil grants 5 reputation points with the faction of their choice and 2 points with all other factions. The Heroes of Sandpoint is a level 7 Sandpoint event that can be found in Chapter 2. This event is kind of 2 events in one. The first part should happen after the Sandpoint Devil is defeated, and the second part should happen after the third doom is dealt with. I understand why they did it this way, as the Sandpoint Devil could keep escaping and be elusive, and if the PCs continue their exploration and investigations, they could end up dealing with the third doom before the Sandpoint Devil is slain. So I will go over the first part now and go over the second part in the next video when it makes sense. If the PCs slay the Sandpoint Devil in the middle of town, its body remains there for all to gawk at. Some folks are eager to have the creature stuffed and mounted in a prominent location in town. Others fear the creature might come back to haunt the town and push for the body's destruction, either by fire or by sinking it into the harbor. Ultimately, what happens to the remains is up to the PCs to decide, but if they choose to put it on display, agents of the Devil's Disciples could sneak into town and try to steal the body or just its head. Either way, these things should cause fear and unease among the townsfolk and show the PCs that there are still strange things happening and plots are amiss. So, that's going to conclude Chapter 4. At this point, the PCs should be 7th level and ready to delve into the 3rd layer of the pit to get answers about what Jordus Munt is up to and to continue their investigations into the 7 dooms of Sandpoint. If the PCs use the Ghost Stone, they will have better clues into what the dooms are and how they can be taken care of. So by the time my group reached this chapter, the dungeon design felt like a turning point. Not only are the encounters growing in lethality, but the structure of the dungeon really starts to open up. There are multiple stairwells and access points leading up and down, giving the players real agency in how they approach exploration. This is where me and the players really started to feel the shift from a more linear crawl into something more organic and threatening. This sense of openness, it helped convey more depth, mystery, and danger. So another thing is that the Ghost Stone chamber was a highlight for my group. The simple fact that it bends the boundary between the material plane and the ethereal creates an atmosphere thick with tension. It's the sort of place where players instinctively tread carefully, waiting for something spectral to emerge from the shifting walls. After learning that it's filled with the trapped and tormented souls of Varisian sages, the PCs can destroy it to free the souls or choose to keep using it for its divinatory powers, which I thought was a good moral decision. Then there's Ooun, the invidiak demon, a standout addition that drips, I think, with like insidious potential. Possession demons are inherently unnerving, and Ooun's presence allows you to inject like paranoia into the party, sowing mistrust, whispering lies, or like framing townsfolk. Unlike a brute force fight here, this is an encounter that can feel more like a horror situation with like being possessed with unseen corruption within allies or like innocent people of Sandpoint. Ooun is the kind of adversary that like lingers beyond just his stat block as something to fight. He can be a haunting presence for the campaign, as a like reoccurring manipulator until the players finally corner it. The Sandpoint Devil subplot is a wonderful reminder that Sandpoint is still doomed, and it maintains the lingering threat of the Sandpoint Devil. Giving the players control over the fate of the devil's body is small but weighty, shaping like local culture and perhaps inviting retaliation from the devil's disciples. I think this is where GMs could like elevate the material. So as written, the devil's disciples are not in Sandpoint. They're just kind of sitting in the pit making plans. But I think instead of the cult being confined to the pit, I imagine them infiltrating Sandpoint, plotting in secret. They could start abducting citizens, taking them to the abandoned glassworks, preparing to transport them to the pit for sacrifice. And then once the devil is slain, they could spread fear in town about the devil's return, or subtly influence which folks want the corpse to be put on display so that they can later steal the body or the head. Seeding these types of hooks, for me, makes the cult feel more pervasive and sinister, reminding the players that the dangers aren't just locked underground, but they're worming their way into the heart of Sandpoint, their beloved doomed town. It also builds tension for later chapters where the cult's true scope comes into focus. Adding something like this would be on the GM to create, but I think it could create more connective tissue between the cult and Sandpoint. So one part, for me, the Caligny Enclave, for me is one of the odder inclusions. The small tribe of Caligny creepers led by Nythis have been dwelling in the pit for years, waiting for their leader's command. On one hand, their presence adds like some flavor. There's something creepy about these little pale, shadowy humanoids scuttling out of their filthy nests, and handled well, it can be like very creepy and alien. And but on the other hand, for me, it feels disconnected from the rest of this level of the pit. Their backstory, that they've simply just been waiting for years without clear purpose, can come across as a little contrived, almost as if they were inserted here to provide a non-hostile weird encounter. So, without some GM framing, it could kind of feel forced. And then another minor critique is that some of the secret areas and subplots lean lean on like fairly high DCs, which can frustrate some parties if they don't have the right skills covered, and they might be missing a lot of stuff. So overall, this chapter delivers a strong blend of creepiness, player agency, and then foreshadowing. It's where the pit stops being as straightforward of a dungeon and starts to feel like an ancient, cursed labyrinth whose dangers are as strange and psychological as they are physical. Between the Devil's Disciples, Ooun the invidiak demon, and the Ghost Stone, the players are left with equal parts fear and curiosity. And for me, that's exactly what I want in the middle chapters of a long, doom-laden campaign. So, in the next video, we are overviewing Chapter 5, Shadows at Midnight. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. And as always, happy GMing.